Hello everyone and welcome. It's Shanna. Now today we're going to be working with this Crafter's Essential Winter Die Set from Kat Scrappiness. And we've got the trees, the pine trees, we've got a buck, and we've got two etched snow dies that you can make kind of like a layered snow scene die. And we've got these trees. And you could just use this for a lot of different things. I'm going to make just a winter scene card with it, and I'm going to die cut everything out in white, except for the deer. I'm going to use some Dune cardstock for that. So I'm just trying to see how I'm going to fit it on here, and then I wind up cutting it apart because I am going to use my scout. So I'm just kind of fooling around with it here for a minute, and I'm going to grab some Dune cardstock. It was just underneath my desk, so I had to reach down there and grab it really quickly. I keep all my spellbinders and the scraps in a plastic protective case, and I had it right underneath my desk there. So I'm going to bring in my scout, and so I will wind up cutting, the white panels down, and so that they'll fit on here. And I wanted to make sure I got my plate that I've been cutting into because I almost grabbed the other one. And I've been doing that lately, accidentally cutting into that top plate. I try to cut into a bottom one for a long, long time, and then I'll switch the one that I've been using for the top plate onto the bottom, and I'll grab a new plate for the top, and that's kind of how I make the most out of my plates for my scout. So I'm just popping these out, and I'm going to do multiples of the deer as well as the trees. And so I'm going to wind up with 3 deer, and I'm going to cut it down so I can do the snow scene with the deer here. And it's shifting. I don't have it taped down, and so I'm having to wiggle it around to where I get it laid down on my card base, my card panel right. And I'm going to get the second snow scene, try to figure out how to make this work. And I did obviously sped this up considerably because it took a little bit of time die cutting, and I wanted to get the video down to kind of a reasonable time frame. So we'll get the second snow hill die cut out. And I'm going to do another set of the trees. So I had to grab another piece of white cardstock, and I'm going to just cut it down. And it really was too wide to go through there. You'll see it kind of bent up, but anyway, I got a second set of trees out of that. And now we're ready to start working on our scene. I'm going to bring in some, my brown blending brush. It probably has vintage photo on there, and I'm going to add some definition to my deer. And I had to be careful because those antlers are pretty fragile. And so I realized, and I just started kind of blotting them instead of brushing across them because I needed to be careful with them. And so you'll see I'm just kind of blotting on the antlers and then adding some color to the back of it. I'm just doing all 3 of them pretty much the same. And then I'm just going to get this ink off of my glass board so that I don't get it on my other pieces. And then I'm going to bring in my blue blending brush because I'm going to use this polka dot paper here. And it's kind of a aqua mint colored paper. And so I'm just going to grab my Distress Oxide. I think I've got cracked pistachio here. And I'm just testing it on this strip to see if that's going to work. And I'm just going to use that and just add some shading to our snow. You could use gray or blue or purple or whatever you want to use to kind of add some shading to your snow, but I'm going to use the bluish hue to match that pattern paper. And that is pattern paper from Kat Scrappiness as well. All the materials I'm using on this video are Kat Scrappiness, with the exception of the inks. And so I've got both of those panels blended, and I want to do the trees similarly, but I'm going to go with a darker hand, and I think I'm even going to bring in a second color as well for it. I thought I was going to use speckled egg, and then I changed my mind and decided that I'd go ahead and continue with the same color and and the tops of those trees are real fragile too. So you got to be gentle with those. And when I do the next one, you'll see I'll put my finger on there and kind of hold the top of that tree down so that it doesn't bend or tear as I'm blending it. And I could have blended my paper before I die cut them out. I could have certainly done that I would have done the lighter color and then maybe brought the darker color in for the shading after I had die cut them out. But I didn't. I just did it all in white, and you can certainly blend on it as if you're careful. So I am still kind of fighting a little bit of a cold, and I'm stuffy. So if my voice sounds funny and my throat kind of cracking, that's what it is. I really don't feel too terribly bad, other than I'm just really stuffy and kind of a little congested. But otherwise, I'm able to function. Just kind of have a frog in my throat, it seems like. So I've got these all blended up. I like the blue and the white for a winter scene. I think it's going to be really pretty. I've cleaned up my dust mess, and I'm going to use this panel here and create a background panel. And I'm going to use this fall frames because I want to have some etching on my frame. So I'm just going to grab it's an A2 size panel, and it's got stitching on there. And then I'm going to bring in this hexagon hexiflake, I think is what it's called, from Spellbinders, and go ahead and emboss this panel, just add some more interest to it. And it's kind of like a snowflake pattern. And I'm going to turn it to where it's top opening so that I can get both of my layers down on there, and I won't have to cut them. And you can see this has got like a sunflower pattern on the back of this pattern paper. Kat Scrappiness is always double-sided, and it is good and heavy. So we'll get this laid down on there, and we'll begin to build our little scene. Because of the embossing, I was just trying to make sure I got it pressed down really well. And I'm just going to layer them up just like this. And I'm bringing in my little tool there so I can pop out. There's some little bits in those trees that you need to pop out. So a little bit of dimension there. And I'm going to put that one in this is how I think I'm going to lay it down. And then I'll tuck the other ones behind and let them hang off a little bit. And so I'll get part of that little tree on there, and I'll cut the rest off. Now I'm going to put a good amount of glue down on here because I've got all of that embossing and I need it to adhere. So I'll get quite a bit laid down on there. And just try and get it lined up. I'm going to use my glass mat to push it down to the bottom there. And I'm getting this voiceover done while the 2-year-old is taking a little nap. And in a little bit, I'll have to go get the 3-year-old from school. He just goes partial day. So I'll have to go pick him up. I'm hoping that the 2-year-old will get his nap out before I go. So just getting that pressed down. And then we'll get this one laid down on there, tucked in, and then we'll put our other snow down. So I'm just trying to figure out where exactly I want it. I think we're starting to finally get some really, truly fall, moving into winter type weather. We have had really warm temperatures, and now we're starting to get cool. I think we're only going to have a high of, I don't know, maybe 54 today. And we actually, my husband said he was going to leave the heat on. We've been just bumping it on when we needed it, when we get up in the morning. But he said, because it's getting so low now, that he wanted it to be on at night so it could kick on. So we're at the point where we've got to turn the heat on. Anyway, so it was inevitable. And I did, yesterday was Monday, and I, as you know, I don't have the boys on Monday. And so I just kind of went hog wild and did a bunch of cleaning at the house. And I did it. I put up my Christmas tree, and I wrapped all of the gifts that I had been kind of stashing in the front bedroom. I got them all wrapped and got my tree all up. And my husband, because the weather was nice, he went ahead and put the lights on the house. I don't know if I said that in one of my other voiceovers. I don't think so, because I think I had those videos loaded before I did it. Anyway, so got that done, and was really happy to get it decorated. And so now I'm kind of having to keep the little ones from getting into the tree and everything. But their tree's up at home, so I'm sure they're getting lessons at home too, that they don't pull all the ornaments off the trees. But anyway, what else was I going to say? It was something else I was going to say. Oh, I know. And in addition to getting my gifts wrapped, I did use all of those tags that I made on the video the other day with the Kat Scrappiness shaker tags, and I used all of those for my gifts. And then I got into my craft room and was watching some other YouTubers, and I had some just bits and pieces of scraps, Christmas scraps, in my little dishes, and I took them and I made more tags with all those little bits and pieces, so they're no longer laying in the little dishes on my desk, and I made good use of them. So I was really excited about that. So I got all three of my deer laid down. I've got my trees on here, and now what I need is a sentiment. So I've got some of these sentiments from Kat Scrappiness. I'm trying to think of the name of them. They're essential sentiments. Basically, it's the one where you can use the single die to die cut them all out. I'll link it in the description box below, but for some reason it's escaping me what it's called at the moment. And I had those already pre-cut out because I had stamped them all. You stamp them all at once and you die cut them all out in a single pass. And then I'm just going to lay it down here on this ink. I just used some of that blue ink to ink it, and I'm going to bring in one of these fancy stitched rectangle dies from Kat Scrappiness. This is the smallest one that comes with that nesting set, and it'll make a nice pretty little scalloped frame around this merry and bright sentiment. And then I'm going to use it for my card. So we'll just get it laid on the plate and get it run through the die cutting machine. And so I'm just kind of wiping off any bits that are on there, and I'm just going to lay this flat down on there is what I'm going to do. And I was just checking the back of my card to make sure I hadn't gotten it dirty, because there was some ink still on that glass mat. And I saw a little spot there that I had gotten some blue on that, and because I added a little bit more shading to the bottom. And so I'm just taking my blending brush and I added some more to the back of that deer. And I was going to do the tail, and then I decided not to because I didn't want to risk messing it up. So I'll just take my sentiment, figure out where I'm going to lay it. I think I'm going to put it up here in this white space, and we'll just get it laid down on there. And then I'm going to grab some embellishments from Kat Scrappiness, just some enamel dots, and get them laid down on here as well. And I really wish I had some smaller ones. I just had these bigger ones in this teal color. And I'm going to lay 3 of those down on there. And my voice is giving out on me, so I'm glad I'm about finished with this. So I put 2 down there, and I took another one and stuck it in between the 2 sets of trees. And it really is kind of big for it, but I laid it down on there. I later tried to move it, and it was stuck pretty well, so I just left it. Anyway, so that'll finish off this card. I think it's a fun winter scene. It's a great die set. Check it out at Kat Scrappiness. Thanks, and have a great day.